I can't believe we got Filler Fest announced for next month, only for a day later to just casually be thrown this. The Grand Festival is here. And let me tell you, oh man, it is so beautiful. But with every single final Splatfest, I just can't help but think if this will affect the future. Or maybe even the past this time. And just a super duper quick recap, if you don't know what I'm talking about, we always have to mention how we have the power to contribute to these games, because in the first one, the final Splatfest was Callie versus Marie. Marie wins. It affected the story in Splatoon 2. In 2, the final fest, it was Chaos versus Order. Chaos won. In 3, we have the City of Chaos and Side Order themed DLC. And finally, we have what is most important to you: the past, the present, or the future. If our actions once again are going to influence the series, then let me tell you, I got no idea what team to go for. But luckily I'm not going to jump to conclusions just yet, because I have seen a few people contemplating whether this really is the final Splatfest. So let's look at the current situation. As of now, the title of this Splatfest is just the Grand Festival. There's no Final Fest insert name here similar to Splatoon 2. The Grand Festival may not have the Final Fest linked to its name, but I do believe this is the last decisive Splatfest, due to the similarity of the Final Fest being one big giant last hurrah party released near the game's anniversary and final update. And similar to Splatoon 2's Final Fest, it was called that, but there were also some reruns and a new fest after the final one. So this Grand Festival for sure has to be the last big important Splatfest, but probably not the last one we're going to see due to some seasonal reruns. After all, we still haven't seen Pearl Marina, Splatoween, and Frosty Fest fit, so we're definitely getting reruns. But let's not forget, next year is the game's 10-year anniversary, and that is a really big milestone that you'd think the dev team would want to celebrate in some sort of anniversary fest. But who's to say this 10-year celebration isn't the final fest that'll determine the outcome of the future? Because that would be a little bit odd if you have the final fest that far out in the future after the game stopped receiving seasonal support. It could just be a nice way to celebrate 10 years of Splatoon. So I think we can confidently all agree this Grand Festival has to affect the next game's entry, making it equivalent to the Final Fest. And I mean, come on, just look at it. You don't make a whole new hub area with a giant Coachella stage featuring all the idols, calling it the biggest Splatfest ever, and not have it be a big important finale. So now that that's cleared up, which is important to you? This, honestly, is a really good topic. It's a very good theme. We could get real philosophical here with this, but you know what? Let's just open up Pandora's box and think of the infinite amount of possibilities, because our actions are really going to cause a crazy split in this timeline depending on the winner. Now, you may argue that going to a different era may not be what the next game will do. The theme is what's most important and not I'd like to visit the past or future, which is a Splatfest that already happened way back in the first game. So this next game could just take place in the present with the winner used heavily for the theme, similar to Splatoon 2 and the City of Chaos in Splatsville. But I know it's a little bit early, but you know what? For now, I'm all in for time travel and different era shenanigans. It's a good thing the idea of jumping to the past or future for a game isn't too far-fetched. Other games in the shooter genres have also done it, and they're no strangers to going back in the past or taking a leap into the future. Even Pokemon did it recently with an isekai plotline in Legends Arceus, so why not Splatoon next? This is just opening the door to what may be a soft reboot to the series with a fresh new start. So let's look at it like this. The winning team will heavily influence the next game setting, plot, or just overall aesthetic in some form. Whether it be some kind of plot with time travel, an isekai taking us there, maybe even Marina's memory machine goes haywire and changes reality as we know it. We're either going back here, staying here, or making a big jump to this. If past wins, we could see a great turf war setting taking place either before or during the event. It is the one big thing we know that happened in the past, and it has been documented in Sunken Scrolls, which says it takes place around 100 years before the events of the first game. But I feel if we're gonna go back in time, we gotta go further. We gotta go to uncharted, unknown territories. But that's the tricky thing about the past. How far is too far? We can't go as far as the first Inkling, clearly, but maybe a time where everything was still in development, but with enough progress to still have some of the features we already do. The first recorded Splatfest, according to the Sunken Scrolls, was approximately 2,000 years ago, so that could probably be the threshold on how far we can go. If Present wins, we could stay somewhere near Encadia, but I think it would be better if we go to a brand new, entirely different place around the world. There's still a lot of unknown regions to go explore on the present-day Inkopolis, and this map barely shows much of what's in the present-day world. Maybe we could even go to some kind of island that becomes a popular new destination. And if you're feeling homesick, we could just return and travel to and fro to the classic city and the new island. But I don't know if the 3 hub areas would return, but who really knows? And as for future, similar to the past, I feel we gotta take a huge leap in time. We're really gonna be in uncharted territories now because we could get giant sci-fi cities, flying cars, jellyfish with cybernetic enhancements, or maybe we have turf wars on the moon. I mean, we've already been to space, so what's stopping us from having the next hub world be a space station? And that's not even the start of it, because I'm just talking about the era it takes place. Imagine the music, the gear, and the aesthetic of it all. Imagine how Salmon Run could change. If we go to the past, we could see a more primitive and aggressive Salmon or a more advanced and high-tech version of them in the future. And what are the chances of an art style change depending on the winner? Could past get a traditional art style gameplay similar to Okami? Or would future be a hyper-realistic Chrome 4K game? Yeah, no, the art style probably won't change as much. But hey, at least the game will look and run better considering this would release on the Switch's predecessor. The sound of exploring a past or future setting sounds amazing, and the possibilities are endless, and if you want something entirely new, then one of these two would be a really good pick. And I know I've been hyping up these 2 options, but let's not forget that if we go too far back or too far forward, I think it may be time to say goodbye to all the characters we know and love. Maybe that's what this 3rd game has been preparing us for? Getting ready to move on to a brand new reality? Who really knows what'll happen to the present day characters if past or future win? I like to believe if either of those options win, we could probably see the ancestors or descendants of certain characters, almost similar to how Pokemon are doing it. I haven't even mentioned this, but each team is also linked to each idol group instead of just Deep Cut, so the idol groups who represent that team could join us in whatever wacky time travel isekai adventure, if it comes to that. Or based on the era, we could explore that idol's family lineage, past, present, or future, but I don't know how that would work for Off the Hook considering they represent the present. But if we're really doing a time jump, I'm sure the devs will always figure something out. And if it's similar to Splatoon 3, maybe even the losing team won't be completely out of the future installment thanks to DLC. Whichever team loses, they could get DLC inspired by the losing option. Now, how would that be represented? Well, maybe that's actually a little bit too early to think about, because there really just is an endless amount of possibilities, and it's really crazy how much power we have in our hands. I guess this is a good thing we have nearly 2 whole months to really think about it. We'll just have to wait and see how the results end up for the Grand Festival. I will say this, I really am curious to see how people will decide how they join. I've seen a few people join a team due to the actual question, which is pretty understandable. It's an age-old question, makes sense. But the second reason is more towards the whole reason of this video, choosing a team to determine what will happen to the next game. I would find it kind of crazy if this really isn't the final fest and it's just the 2-year anniversary. But nah. That's not even copium. There's no way that won't happen. But clearly, finally, we have the last reason, which is just supporting the character you like the most. And you know what? That's valid. You just gotta have fun with it, you know? Have fun with the fate of the series. I honestly think this is a harder choice compared to the 2 final fests, so I don't know. Just gotta really think about it. So whether you pick your team based on the philosophical topic in question, taking the fate of the series in your own hands, or just choosing the team because you like that certain idol group or character, just remember,
the past is irreversible. Think wisely now in the present, or it will affect your near future.